Today, I'd like to talk to you about something that's been very much in my mind since the start of the year. And this is about resilience in leadership. I find that often when we talk about resilient leaders, we talk about the leaders that persevere, we talk about the leaders that push, we talk about the leaders that get back up no matter how much they fall. Um, and we kind of glamorize it to a certain extent. That's the image of like the perfect resilient leader. But I've been noticing since the start of the year, there's one thing that we don't talk about when we talk about resilience, and it's the cost of resilience. What is the cost on that leader for being so resilient? Over the past 3 years, I've dealt with a lot of challenges. One of my children, one of my kids, has had some health issues, and it forced me to do all sorts of things to push the medical system, to do all sorts of things to take care of him. And what I've come to find is that, in that moment, I was very resilient. I would still keep working with clients. I would still try to be as present as I could. But, I wasn't always feeling great doing those things. I remember a few times I was giving a talk at conferences, virtual conferences because of COVID, of course. And, half an hour before, I was curled up in a ball, and all I wanted to do was cry. And that's pretty much what I was doing. Then I took half an hour to get back in my bubble. And when it was showtime, I just gave my show. I did the talk. I did what I needed to do. I did this with workshops. I did this with a whole bunch of stuff. I'm giving you my example personally. There's been a bunch of other stuff going on, but this is just to give you an idea. But here's the thing, that resilience came at a cost. Came at a cost to my mental health. It came at a cost to how present I could be for people sometimes. It came at a cost of, just the mental cost was crazy. I see many leaders that I work with, that I coach, that are very resilient themselves. They face craziness all day long, and they bounce back from that. And sometimes when we talk, I can hear how discouraged they can feel over some situations, and they just keep doing that, and they keep pushing. They keep pushing sometimes at the cost of their health. They keep pushing to the point where they're getting close to burnout. And really, if that's the cost of being a resilient leader, we need to rethink what resilience is in leadership. We need to approach this very differently because this doesn't work. Just pushing forward doesn't work. What I've found since the start of the year, actually since last fall, I've been doing a lot more stuff to take care of myself, to heal myself. And sometimes it's not always obvious, it's not always easy, but it starts with a few simple things that you can do. It starts by being vulnerable with your team. As I was going through this, the people working for me in my company knew what I was going through. I could have chosen to keep it to myself. I could have chosen not to say anything and suffer in silence, but that's not what I wanted to do because I needed help and I needed support and I needed people to do things for me sometimes so that I did not feel as overwhelmed as I felt. So I leaned into my team. And sometimes the other thing is that once you start making yourself vulnerable like that with your team, and there's a distinction here, between sharing what's personal and what's private. It can be okay to say, look, I'm experiencing this in my life right now, and it's not going well, and that's kind of the personal level, versus the private level where you give all the details. People don't need all the details all the time, but it's useful for them to know that something is going on for you, that something is happening for you. The other thing that's important is finding, being vulnerable with your team also means looking for your oxygen masks. Who are the people in your life that you can open up to? And you can open up to in any way, shape, or form. You can be emotional with them. You can be angry with them. You can be all sorts of stuff with them. And it's okay because they are there for you. That's important. Another thing that is really important is, sometimes the support system can be not just friends; it can be some professionals. On my side, what I've done over the years is, I have a specific person that when I'm having physical health issues, that's the person that I go see. When I have when my energy isn't where I want it to be, where I need to kind of deal with what's in my body, there's two people that I go see. But those people are there for me. They're there in service to me, in service to my needs in that moment. So what I'm telling you here is you do not need to be alone. And the other thing that's important is these things are normal to an extent, but it's not normal to keep yourself in this mental space. It's not normal to accept to just drive yourself to burnout as a leader. There's other ways to live. It could be much more interesting than that. So essentially what I want to share with you today is resilience in leadership is important. It matters. You need to keep pushing sometimes. You need to bounce back. That's important. But keep track of the cost. What is it costing you in terms of your mental health? What is it costing you in terms of time with your family? What is it costing you in terms of just your health in general? Your time to do other things than work? Because, we just have one life here. That's all we have. And we have to use it as best we can. And it's not because we're leaders and because we want to take on this mantle of responsibility that we need to carry it all on our own. And, that's why I talk about co-creative leadership sometimes too, because co-creative leaders aren't trying to lead alone. They're trying to lead and get their teams to play along and get their teams to contribute and get their teams to maximize what they can bring. And if you can start doing things like that, and if you can be vulnerable with your team, and if you can even say, just today's a bad day, I can't do this, I'll do this another time. That's okay too. What are your limits? So, I don't want to ramble on too long, but those were some of my thoughts that I wanted to share to you this morning around resiliency in leadership, and what does it mean, or what can it mean to be a resilient leader. Thanks for watching.